Thank you, Jacob. Hi, hello. So I'm here. Hello. No?
Hello?
Is it on? Hold it.
Hello? Fancy. Okay, this is good. This is great. Okay, I'll ask again for those in the back. Is anyone already sad that Christmas is over? Me too. Like it was only 2 months ago, and you're already ready for next Christmas? That is absolutely me. I'm very sad when Christmas is over, and I'm already thinking about next Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year. The cookies, the trees, the lights, I absolutely love it. And the very best part of Christmas to me is the music. I love the Christmas music. I have a very special Christmas Amazon playlist, and my family knows the minute Thanksgiving is over, I've got this very grand moment of turning on the playlist for the first time. And the first song is always, "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas." It's awesome. And every year, another tradition, poor Colton has to listen to me get on my soapbox about the lyrics of Christmas carols because they're so overlooked. I think because they're Christmas carols, we miss the theology and the poetry of their lyrics. They're beautiful, like this one, "O Little Town of Bethlehem." Yet in thy dark streets shineth the everlasting light. Come on. That's poetry, y'all. That's good stuff. Yum. Well, one of my personal favorites, and the one I want to unpack with you tonight, is "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." Do we know this one? Hark the Herald. Yeah, it's a good one. And the lyrics are wonderful. And what I want to talk to you about tonight is my very favorite part, which is in verse 2 when it says, "Mild he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die." He lays his glory by. So what I want to unpack with you tonight is that to heal us, to help us to establish his kingdom, Jesus did not keep his own glory. We have a king who diminished himself, who lessened himself. He laid his glory by. And if we want to be citizens of his kingdom, that is the culture of his kingdom. Since Adam and Eve, since the freaking Garden of Eden, grasping our own glory. Oh, you've got yourself a little sheet there. Mama loves a good sheet. I never teach without a sheet. So I'm not going to read all those verses to you, but you can kind of follow along with them if they're helpful. Mama loves a sheet. Keep it if you like it. Okay. So you got just a little bit of Genesis 3 on there. Since Adam and Eve, grasping our own glory, clinging to our own glory, has ruined and destroyed the world. They did it, and so do we. And his kingdom, a kingdom of life and resurrection and fixing what we broke, his kingdom that will fix it, his is a kingdom of laying your glory by. That is how healing happens. As Christians, we know that Jesus is not God's servant. Yes, Jesus is not God's prophet. He's not a teacher of God's. Jesus is the actual presence of God, right? That crammed its enormous self down into a person and came down here to keep God's law for us and then to be punished for not keeping God's law for us. Yes? But before he came here, he was not human-sized. Jesus was enjoying the full, infinite experience of being God, glory, infinity, the perfection of heaven. And to come here, to be small and to get sleepy and dirty like us, to perform miracles for us that let us glimpse just a little bit of the abundance and the health of God's coming kingdom, to be crushed by God's punishment in our place, to come here and to heal and to rescue, he had to lay that glory by. He was willing for us to say goodbye to that giant, infinite, brilliant glory and to come here, human-sized, and start to restore the world back to Eden. So that's what I want to unpack with you tonight. To restore, to heal, he had to lay his glory by. And the same is true for you. If you want healing, if you want healing in bad relationships, if you want healing and restoration of your mental health, you are going to have to stop. We have to stop clinging to our own glory. So I want to unpack that with you in 3 ways tonight. Number 1, we're going to do these real quick. Laying your glory by, like everything about the Lord, laying your glory by will bring freedom. Number 2, clinging to your own glory will bring dysfunction. And number 3, laying your glory by is the only culture of his kingdom. There is not another culture. So, number 1, like everything he tells us to do, like everything about him, laying your glory by will bring freedom. Paul tells us in Galatians 5, it is for freedom that Christ has set you free. Do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. We do not believe this. We do not understand this, myself included. Obeying Jesus is always moving out of death and bondage into life and freedom. Always. And since the Garden of Eden, since the snake confused the people, obeying God has gotten a bad rap, right? What we really think, what we thought in Eden and what we think now is, obeying God's going to make things worse. I'm going to lose stuff. I'm going to miss things. Obeying God is going to ruin stuff. Obeying God's going to make things worse. I'm free now. But obeying him will be losing and missing something, and that is never true. Every single thing that the Bible tells you to do will heal you, fix you, help you, set you free, always, without exception, and this is no exception. Humbling, and we're going to unpack it together, humbling yourself like Jesus, following Jesus into humility, de-glorifying yourself, getting less glory for you will be freedom. Now, it's very hard to do, and for all human beings, it's very hard to do, but I want to suggest that it's especially hard to do in 2022. Let's look at this. We're going to click through these together. Let's look at these together. These are lots of fun. Here we go. These are all off of my personal social media. I know all of these people personally. You can keep clicking. I know all these people. Oh, look, this is nice. I am cute in a lace dress in the field. I am cute. Yes, I know all of these people. These are all from the last couple of months of social media. I screenshotted them all. It could have been you. You dodged a bullet. But you don't know any of these people. None of these people are connected to Living Hope in any way. Oh, look, I'm cute at night, too. I'm also cute at night. Okay, next. Oh, I love this one. This is one of my favorite ones. My hair looks good even in the car. Look at the caption of this one. Just me, because I'm everything. That's nice. That's nice. Next one. Oh, I love this one. People always ask me why I work out so much. Oh, this one, I'm cute on the porch. Yes, you're very cute. Golden hour, I think was the caption. Me at golden hour. That's nice. Okay, next. Oh, here, I love this one. I had to color them to make some of them appropriate. I couldn't show some of them. Look at this one. Don't look at me. Don't look at you. What's this for? Don't look at me, Lord. Okay, next. Oh, just in case we think it's all girls, it's not. It's not. Here I am with my muscles. And this thing, what's this? This tongue situation. We think it's cute. It's not. Here I am cute on a log. Okay, next. Oh, I love, here, my pants are cool from the front and my pants are cool from the side. I'm cool. All right, last one. This is my last one. Next. My spoon is cute. I'm so cute, even my spoon is cute. Boy, I'm cute. All of this is recent. All of these are people this is all from my social media. These people are not connected to Living Hope. This right here, this is glory for me. Look how cute I am. please like me. Please like this. Glory for me. And let's not judge this random person you don't know. Would I not have the exact same experience if I took a little thumb scrolly down the social media feed of anybody in here, including myself? Look at me. Like this, like me, glory for me. Yes? This is how you are instructed to behave in this culture. Laying your glory by like Christ did, that is the opposite of how our culture is encouraging you to behave. C.S. Lewis, my hero, says that this way we are living, this thing we're doing, me, more of me all the time, this is the culture of hell. You've got it on your little sheet there. Lewis says this: we must picture hell as a state where everyone is perpetually concerned about his own dignity and advancement, where everyone has a grievance, sound like social media, where everyone has a grievance and where everyone lives the deadly serious passions of envy and self-importance. Satan lived first in God's kingdom, and in the midst of a world of light and love, of song and feast and dance, he could find nothing to think of but his own prestige. Let's take a quick thumb scrolly down your TikTok or your Instagram or mine. Could I look at our lives and say, she could find nothing to think of than her own prestige? This here, bring her back, bring our friend back. This is the behavior of citizens of hell. Now, do not get me wrong. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying people who post on social media go to hell. I am not saying that. Don't hear that. What I am saying is that there is a culture in hell where it is always about me, more of me. And there is a culture in heaven where it's okay that there's less of me. And this behavior of ours, this fits the culture of hell. Now, I happen to know all these people personally, and one of them, I won't point out who, but one of them in the little slideshow there, I spoke to her one time, and she told me that she is fixated. She shared this with me. She is fixated on what everybody thinks about her. And she told me once that she wishes she could see a number floating above everyone's head, and that the number would show how much that person approves of her, how much that person likes her, how well that person thinks of her, you know. And so that she could always, as she's interacting with you, because she could see the number, and she could always be trying to raise the number. We post all of this because we want to feel more glorious. And will I not see the exact same begging from all the rest of us online? This is bondage. Maybe for you, it's not social media. Maybe for you, it doesn't show up on social media. Maybe for you, it's sports. You have to win. You cannot get benched. You will freak if you're benched. You've got to win, and you've got to play, and everyone's got to clap. Maybe for you, it's not sports. Maybe for you, it's grades. You have to make A's. You have to keep taking the ACT until you get the correct score. You cannot fail this test because your value is connected. My glory. Jesus tells us to lay that glory by. And I want you to think. Really think about how you feel trying to make good grades, trying to impress your friends, trying to be attractive, trying to get likes on social media, trying to be your parents' most impressive kid. Glory for me. Paul calls that a yoke of slavery. And come on, isn't it? He always wants to set you free. Diminishing yourself, de-glorifying yourself, humbling yourself like he did. That is the place of healing. Period. So how? How does laying our glory by, how might that bring healing? Okay, number 2. Bye-bye, friends. Bye-bye to our friends. Bye-bye. Like everything that disobeys God, like all of it, clinging to your own glory will bring dysfunction. And I want to talk about 3 little quick bullet point ways. Number 1, first thing, if you are clinging to your own glory, you cannot make a wise choice if it'll make you look bad. If you are trying so hard for your own glory, see me, like me, everybody laugh at what I say, think I'm cute, think I'm funny. If that's us, then you are not free to be wise. Let me read you this quick story. It's on your little paper there from Matthew 14. Herod had arrested John the Baptist and put him in prison. And on Herod's birthday, the daughter of Herodias, his wife, danced for the guest. Sexy dance. And she pleased Herod so much that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Prompted by her mother, she goes, "Oh, great. I would like, on a platter, the head of John the Baptist." The king was distressed. But because of his oath and his dinner guests, he ordered that her request be granted and had John beheaded in the prison, and the head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl. Now let's look at this. Why does Herod kill John? He's distressed. He's panicking. He doesn't want to. He knows this is bad. This distresses him. He knows this is bad. So why does he kill John anyway? Because of the dinner guests. He's drunk. He makes a stupid promise to the girl who does the sexy dance, and she says, "Oh, great. I want you to kill that guy." And Herod sobers right up, and the hall goes quiet. This is a big ask. And everybody turns to look, and Herod's heart is thumping. He knows this is bad. He knows this is wrong. But he can't look like a shrimpy king at his own party. And so he has John the Baptist's head cut off and brought dripping into the party to show everybody that he's a big man. He's tough. It is grotesque. Fear of how you will look can cause you to commit great sin. If Herod had not been so desperate for his glory, he could have been okay being a bummer at the party. He would have been free to say, "Listen, I'm sorry. That's not right. I can't do that. I'm sorry if y'all are irritated, but if you think bad of me, that's okay. That's okay. If people don't always think I'm fun, that's okay." If he had been able to lay his glory by, he would have been free to ask, regardless of what they'll think, what is right here. But no, he's clinging to his glory, and so he is only able to ask, what do the party guests want to see? What will impress them? And I have to do that. Now for you, have you ever told a mean joke? And you knew when you said it, it was wrong. You knew when you said it, you shouldn't say it. But you also knew it would make the group laugh, and you couldn't resist the laugh. I've done that. If we are addicted to our own glory, we are in bondage, and we are only able to ask, what will they like? If you are clinging to your own glory, then you have to do what will make you look best in front of these people. And that thing changes depending on the people. School people and church people might want different stuff. So you've got to figure out what the new group wants, and you've got to do that. That's bondage. And he is always trying to set us free. Okay, second little bullet point. Clinging to your own glory creates dysfunction because you always have to be right. If you are clinging to your own glory, you can't be wrong. You have to win arguments. You have to look smart. People cannot disagree with you. You have to be right. You cannot look like you don't know what you're talking about because you've got to defend your glory. Let me promise you, nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. Anybody, don't raise your hand. Do you have a parent like that? They always have to be right. They would never say, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I was wrong about that. They would never say that. What is that like to live with? It creates unhappiness. Disobeying Jesus always, and in this instance, clinging to our own glory creates unhappiness. We think it doesn't. That's as old as Adam and Eve. We think that Jesus doesn't know what he's talking about and that following him will ruin things. But get this, I love this. I have a master's. My master's is in mental health. My graduate degree is in mental health. And in graduate school, I learned something that I've never forgotten. I loved it. It's called the 2 pillars of happiness. This is not Christian. This is not like from a Christian person. This is just general psychology. Psychologically, there are 2 factors that determine whether or not you are happy. People who report in their adult lives that they are happy, they have 2 things in common. And number 1, the main thing that contributes to whether or not you are happy, long-term in your life, is called ownership. Ownership is how much you can acknowledge that you contributed to the bad parts of your life. I can see and I can say that I did that wrong. This fight, this failed quiz, it wasn't all the teacher. It wasn't all my father. I contributed failure to this. I can take ownership. And number 2 is resilience. Ownership and resilience. I can acknowledge my own smallness. I can acknowledge my failure. I can acknowledge that I do it wrong. And then I can acknowledge my failure and resilience and bounce back to stability. I can handle being de-glorified. Psychologically, nothing Christian, just psychology. That is what predicts whether or not you will be happy. Ownership. Can you handle frequently being wrong? Can you handle being diminished? Following Jesus always sets you free into happiness. Always. So here is a test. If you're wondering, do I have ownership? Let's see. Here's a test. Try this. I want you to say this for real. I want you to say it to a friend or somebody in your family. Not right now, but the next time it's true. The next time it's true, I want you to say to somebody, you were right and I was wrong. Stop. That's it. No explanation, no story, no self-defense, no reason. You were right. I was wrong. Stop. Are you able to say that to anybody? If you're not, you might be clinging too tightly to your own glory. And last little bullet point. Clinging to your own glory creates dysfunction because you cannot apologize. Here's a second test. Here's test number 2. If you're wondering, can I lay my glory by? Let's see. Here's a test. You are trying too hard to keep your own glory if you say to people, I'm sorry, but I did that, but I had to. I'm sorry I said that, but you made me really mad. You really started it. If you say, I'm sorry, but what you're saying is, I did my bad thing, but really, you caused the bad thing that I did. I keep my glory. It's clever. It's tricky. You're trying to get credit for having apologized without any real humility. So if the other person says, you didn't even apologize, you can go, yes, I did, but you didn't. You did not. You did not say, I am sorry that I did that. That was wrong. I shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry. For that, you have to follow Jesus, and you have to lay your glory by. I'm sorry I lied, but you didn't make me feel safe. That is keeping your glory because the failure is really theirs, right? So I'll ask again, do you have a parent or a sibling Or are you dating somebody who never apologizes? How does it feel to live with that? Hell is a world where everybody has to be right and impressive. And heaven will be a kingdom where people aren't concerned with being impressive. You're not impressive. He's impressive. And when we're there and we can see all of the blazing splendor of how magnificently beautiful he is, do you think anybody will be impressed with you? They won't. They won't. So citizens of heaven have to be people who are comfortable not being the one with the glory. Are you? Are you comfortable? Can you not be the one the group is focused on? That's what it means to be like Jesus. So, number 3, last one. Laying your glory by, this is my last point. Laying your glory by, that's the only culture of his kingdom. There isn't another culture. That's the culture. If you, listen to me, if you are a believer, or you're thinking about it, but if you are following Jesus, you are not called to be nice or honest. Those are side effects. Those are symptoms. You are called to be a little flicker of heaven. Jesus calls it a light in the darkness. Yes? When people look at you, they ought to see a little example of a citizen of heaven culture operating in this not heaven place and showing people with your life, with your cultural values, what God's kingdom is like. We are called to show people who don't know. You can look at my life, my values, my culture. You can look at me and get a little taste of what his kingdom will be like, of what the culture is there. And in any community, the leader sets the culture. And your king laid his glory by. As a citizen of his, you are called to do the same. There's a quote I love. I'll end with this story. There's a quote I love by a poet named Robert Farrar Capon. You've got it on your little fancy sheet there. He says this. I love this. Human beings who wish to understand the ways of God are like oysters lying at the bottom of a tide pool, wishing to understand the ways of a prima ballerina. I love that. It's good. It acknowledges that he is so beyond us. It acknowledges his difference and our smallness. I like it. But no offense to Robert Farrar Capon, who is famous and I am not, so no offense to Robert. But I disagree with this. I do not think Robert is right. Because in the real story, we know that in the real story, the ballerina has power. And the ballerina transforms herself into an oyster. And she goes down into the tide pool to teach the other oysters about herself in oyster talk. And as an oyster herself, she feels how impossible it is to be an oyster trying to do ballet. With no long, beautiful legs and no long, graceful arms. No, the oysters are just these fat little blobs and these sad little shells. The ballerina understands down there with them that it will take a miracle for these fat little oysters to ever do ballet. The writer of Hebrews would say that we have a high priest who is able to sympathize with our weaknesses. So the ballerina tells the oysters, listen, if you will ask me, then the same power I used to transform myself into an oyster like you, I'll use that power on you. And slowly, you'll start to grow little feet and little arms like mine. And you will for sure be the weirdest oyster. But what the other oysters don't realize is that you're super weird because you're less like an oyster and you're a little more like me. And while you're down here in the tide pool, it'll start small, but at the end of your oyster life, you will look up at the surface and you'll see my face through the surface of the water. And I will smile, and I will reach my hand down in the water, and I'll pull you out up onto the shore with me, and you will be a human child. The plan is for you to become like me. Following Jesus is not about you being a good girl. God's plan is not for you to stop being bad. God's plan is for you to become more like him. Sinning less or being kinder or something, those are side effects of being more like him. The ballerina doesn't want oysters who are nicer to the other oysters. She wants oysters who are slowly starting to grow little arms and little legs, so they're less like oysters and they're more like her. Now, let's say that you're an oyster and you know the ballerina. You've met the ballerina and you want your oyster friend to know the ballerina. You know the ballerina is great and you want your oyster friend to know her. And so you tell over a lunch of krill or something, I don't know what they eat, moss or something. You tell your oyster buddy about the ballerina and how great she is. Oh, she is great. Well, that's fine. That's good. That might help. That's fine. Maybe she'll listen. Maybe she won't. But let's say you're an oyster and you want your oyster friend to know the ballerina. And all of a sudden one day, you've got a slimy gray little hand. When all the other oysters are just fat little blobs, you've got a little hand. Now that's interesting. That's compelling. Now your oyster friend wants to know, dude, where'd you get that hand? And your answer is, well, I know the ballerina. And she's using her power to make me like her. Now your oyster friend might be interested. Now they might want to talk. Did you know the early church grew really, really fast? The early church in Rome grew very fast, but it did not grow because of the services or the preaching. It could not. Christianity was illegal in Rome, and if the government found out that you were a Christian or where your church was meeting, they would come and set you on fire. They would dip you into tar, and they would set you on fire. So you couldn't be just inviting random friends to church. You couldn't invite anybody because they might tattle on you to the government, and then they come and burn your house down. So no one, I think this is interesting, nobody was even allowed to come into the early churches unless they were already baptized because it was too dangerous. So what that means is that no non-Christians could hear any Christian preaching at all, ever. And yet the early church grew really fast. How'd they do that? It was 100%. They couldn't invite anybody to church. So it was 100% because the early Christians were living in ways that nobody else did. Now, for most of us, if you know the Lord and you've got a lost friend, you want your friend to know the Lord. For most of us, the plan is to try to bring people to church and let them hear Colton talk. And that's good. That's wonderful. He is great. And sharing the gospel is important. Yes, yes. But if you really want your friend to be compelled, you need to start to resemble the ballerina. You've got to start to resemble God in a way that is not like the other people. And in a world of this, let's get our friends back up there. No shade on them. Well, let's get them back. In a world full of this, are you exactly the same? Look at me. I'm cute. I'm always right. I'm interesting. I'm a queen. Yes? Or are you willing to become a little bit more like the Lord? And the Lord laid his glory by. The Lord diminished himself. He made himself less. This here that we're doing, we are just oysters taking a bunch of pictures of other oysters and then both going, I'm different. I'm not like the other girls. Okay. If you want to be like the Lord, if you want to make him interesting to the other oysters, if you want healing in your own life, we've got to be more like him. And he laid his glory by. That is our calling, to be crucified with Christ. And in a world drowning in selfies, to be crucified with Christ might look like not thinking about how cute you are all the time. In a world of mean, angry politics, to be a light in the darkness might look like saying, I'm not sure. I really don't know enough to have an opinion. In a world where people are begging for everybody to like them, to be a light in the darkness might look like saying, it's okay if people think I'm a bummer at the party. It's okay if they don't think I'm edgy or that fun or whatever. I don't know. So my question for you is, we can take our friends away. Bye-bye. They did a great job. My question for you is, where do you need to lay your glory by? Where is the pressure to have it together and for people to think highly of you and for people to like your posts? Where is that pressure ruining stuff? Where do you need freedom? Where do you need to lay your glory by? Is it physically, like how thin you are or something? Is it grades? Is it sports? Is it romance? Like you have to have a boyfriend all the time. Can't have a week between them. Where is it? If you want healing, if you want resurrection, Jesus has shown us you have to lay your glory by. That is the kingdom that is going to heal and fix this world. If you want to follow him, then you are a citizen of the kingdom of glory. You are a citizen of the kingdom of, it's okay if there's less of me. He left heaven's glowing perfection, and he came down here because he thought that you were worth it. Is there anybody that you think is worth it? For what friend would you say, I would rather heal things with you than keep insisting that I'm right? I would rather admit that I'm wrong. I would rather look bad than lose you. I am willing to lay my glory by. Is there anybody you think is worth it? This world is broken. And to fix things, Jesus had to leave the splendor and the infinity of heaven and come here and save us. He could not bring life and healing and keep his own glory. And I think the same is true for you and me. Lay your glory by. That's where the life is. Here you go. This is free. Mild he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark, the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Let's pray. Father, help us to humble ourselves. If everyone else in here is anything like me, it will take a miraculous act of your Holy Spirit to get me to stop thinking about me. But we do want to follow you. We do believe that your kingdom will heal this world, your kingdom and only your kingdom, and we want to be a part of it, but we're very bad at it. We ask you, Father, to do a healing, miraculous work, as miraculous and as specific as when you healed the eyes of the blind guy and when you healed the lepers. We ask you to do a work of specific and miraculous healing in us, so that in a world of self-centeredness, we would be odd and we would resemble you. And that might, for someone near us, testify to your beauty. Help us to do that. We love you. You are the only truly lovable thing. Help us to love you a little bit closer to what you deserve. Amen.